Welcome back to WDRB Media, the voice of the community, giving you double the information and inspiration. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to A New Day. I'm your host, Juicy J. Mr. Bay is away, so I have two special guests with me today. I have Taveion Morris to my left, and I have Czar McKinney to the right. And so if you're just not tuning in, we have been talking about unity in the community and how we can protect our children in the schoolhouse, with a lot of the incidences coming up here in Charlotte, North Carolina, with the gun violence in the schools. So we touched on a lot of things. We touched about metal detectors possibly being put in the schools here in North Carolina. We talked about the age gap with the teachers and the students, and how, with the fact of the matter that they're very close in age, how it can kind of be hard to guide and, I guess, steer the children in a different direction, so to speak. And so now I think what we wanted to touch about, we talked a little bit about it off air, was social media and the impact on social media with quote unquote bullying, because it's not I don't always feel like it's a bullying situation, but the fact that when some violence kind of happens in the school, i.e. a fight, how it's escalated so much differently because of the fact of social media. So I'm gonna let the younger generation talk about how they feel social media has impacted their generation, and I'll give my input on it as well a little later. So I'm gonna start with you, Czar.
You kind of want to hop on this one first, because when I grew up, right, like I didn't grow up with cell phones necessarily, but I was coming in on the cusp of like this whole electronic thing, this, that, and the fourth. So like when I was in the elementary and middle school, I didn't have a cell phone per se, but they still had cell phones. You know what I'm saying? And back then we had like yeah, we had MySpace. That was it. You know what I'm saying? We had MySpace. So I don't know, like, you want to take this one?
Yeah, all right. Well, yeah, so for me being, I guess, in that new millennial generation with the phones and videos, I definitely feel like social media plays a big part of the violence that goes on in this society and in this world, because of how fast it gets out, and then how broad of a scale it can reach in over like minutes and seconds, literally. I feel like social media definitely carries a lot of the things social media should be used for is not used for, and the things Absolutely. On the back end of it, all the negative things, is more broadcasted these days, and that's pretty sad. I feel like with social media and just like video recording, you're able to hold on to people's files longer and be able to hold stuff against people on a much broader scale and on a longer scale. Like, I mean, even just outside of school, like, like anything can happen, and like people know you from anything, like just a video or like something that's not even you. I feel like social media. I feel like social media could definitely. Be used for much better things than just the negative aspects of it.
Right. They should definitely have like stricter guidelines when it comes to social media, because like how they have like the YouTuber, it's stuff like it's a lot of violence and stuff out there. So I think they got to have guidelines for that stuff too. But it definitely starts with the person, whomever it is, the human being behind the account,
behind the camera.
Yeah, behind the website, before it crosses over to the internet. But you are definitely right. It definitely plays a very big role in that, because a lot of these social media platforms have a lot of power of influence, and that influence ranges from different demographics, different age groups, and whatever the case may have it, like World Star or Twitter or anything of that sort. So you definitely got to be mindful when you're posting stuff like that, and you got to always remember that people have feelings too, because you could one day also be on the other end of that very same camera,
or your child,
or your child,
or your child.
Close to you.
Yes,
your family member. It does not. Karma does not see no discrimination.
Absolutely, so. That's absolutely. So I'm gonna ask a question, and I want to give both of you guys input on this. So I'm going to see how I want to word it. With social media now, and with gun violence and the bullying accusations escalating, over the past few years, do you all think that if social media was not as prominent as it is now, would the gun violence not be as critical as it is today?
Definitely. I'll say definitely. I I mean, it's always gonna be gun violence because I mean, it's always gonna be guns. But when you start to broadcast things and put it out there and get people's energy on that, then people's energy and their thoughts start to shift into that, and when they see like guns being fought in battles and people resorting to that, like then it caused like it caused like a domino effect on everybody in a sense, because a lot of people don't know how to handle that and they don't really know how to distinguish the two, you know. So I feel like, yeah, social media definitely has a big impact on gun violence and the increase of gun violence in this day and age.
What about you, Czar?
I could agree to disagree with that statement, just for the simple fact that, like you said, just because there are guns around, there's always going to be some type of gun violence. I believe that social media just has created the platform to inform more people of it now. Because I wasn't born back in the day, quote unquote, but I don't believe that the stuff that's happening in my day and age with my demographic is stuff that wasn't, completely not taking place back in the day. So I think that it's just more so shed the light towards the violence that we see, every day, being the youth in America or anyone, period. So, it just goes back to guidelines and, having like morals,
Okay. Well, we're going to end our show today. Of course, we always run out of time. We can always sit here and we can talk about this for a whole nother hour show. So I want to thank you for joining us today. Again, you're listening to A New Day with Juicy J in the absence of Mr. Bay. But, of course, I have Taveion and Czar with me. They help fill in and finish the show today. You can tune in with us every Saturday at 3:30 at WDRBmedia.com, the voice of your community. Also follow us on Twitter at Juicy J and Mr. Bay. Facebook, A New Day with Juicy J and Mr. Bay. We definitely would love for you guys to leave your comments and let us know what you think about the show. And again, as always, as we end the show, be blessed, real talk, real music, real people.